Hello and welcome to this special edition of the 77% Street Debate. This is a collaboration between DW and Trust TV, and we're coming to you live from Garki International Market here in the heart of Abuja, Nigeria's capital. Today we're going to be unpacking a serious issue that is built around women, gender, economic inequality and a whole lot more. The big question is hustling for women in Nigeria. What is holding us back? And of course, to set the conversation in motion, my name is Abdullahi Ahmed, and of course I'll be co-piloting the conversation with the magnificent Edith Kimani.
Now, magnificent is absolutely on point. Thank you so much, Abdullahi. It's a pleasure to be here on Trust TV. And as Abdullahi said, we do indeed have a lot lined up for you. So if I were you, I would stay right there.
All right, to set things in motion, here's an explainer that sets the tone for today's conversation. Have a look.
Women entrepreneurs are the backbone of Nigeria's economy. Women like Simi, Chidinma, and Ibilola are among over 23 million women operating micro-businesses.
Mostly it's women that, we have that push. We are the creatives of the society.
They account for nearly 41% of small enterprises, making a significant contribution to the nation's GDP, according to the International Finance Corporation. Yet, despite their critical role, many of these women face steep barriers.
I think the challenges we're facing right now is, one is light, electricity. We need our tailors to be up and doing. So if there is no electricity, we spend more money on fuel, diesel and all.
When I started my business, funding wasn't really there. It was a bit of a challenge because most times I don't have the physical cash to purchase the goods I need.
Finances remain challenging. Only 6 to 10% of Nigerian women are able to secure formal bank loans, leaving the majority locked out of credit markets. The reason? Collateral. Most women lack the land or property that banks typically demand. Without this, it's nearly impossible to scale up, invest in new ideas, or stabilize their businesses. Many of the entrepreneurs have ideas on how their businesses can flow easier.
More publicity, more awareness, like organizing more women trade fairs that will encourage women that are in business to come and showcase themselves.
This shows the resilience of Nigerian women in business and the work still needed to support their growth and success.
Powerful, passionate and compelling. Well, to lead us into today's debate, let's hand things over now to Edith Kimani.
Thank you so much, Abdullahi. But don't go too far. You do need to earn your keep today. We'll be seeing Abdullahi in just a short while. But for now, those numbers again, those estimates stating that nearly 40% of businesses here in Nigeria are owned by women, particularly small, medium and micro businesses. But what about big business? Are women participating there? Who better to ask than some women? And I'm so glad to have a panel that is full of women today. And I want to start with you, Zainab. Perhaps you can explain to us what the situation in Nigeria is. Would you say that women are dominant in the business market?
Women are really trying in the business market, and I think we are trying to be more than the men now, and I hope we'll be better.
So the question that we've asked at the top of this debate is, are women being held back? Would you say that's an accurate assumption?
Yes. I am going to talk for the North. I think the women in the North are actually being held back a lot, from religion aspect, from cultural diversity, from funding. I think a lot is being held from the northern women, especially.
All right. So we'll come to those reasons in just a short while. But I want to speak to Saadatu for a second here. As an IT specialist, you are in an industry that is growing leaps and bounds. Are you seeing women participation in that, particularly in the North, as Zainab mentioned?
Sorry, I didn't get the question again.
Do you see women participating in the IT sector, which is growing in leaps and bounds, particularly from the North?
Actually, I would say no. It's growing, but really not. I think it's not favorable. I think it's not what we want to be seen. But there's a lot of setbacks actually in the IT sector and women, especially in the northern part of Nigeria, because as they start, they stop at some point for some reasons known to them.
So give me an example of like an average day for you at the office. How many women are you interacting with? On average, what's the percentage of women in your industry in the North?
Okay, so I would say, particularly because in my technology hub, we do university building, so I normally interact with some women, but I'll say like maybe 40%. So 40% or 30% sometimes. So because actually the numbers are not satisfactory.
Yeah, the numbers don't look so good. Yeah. So let's ask the economist in the building here, Dr. Jalindo. How would you categorize the participation of women in the market in the whole of Nigeria, but particularly in the north?
Okay, I think women, based on different statistics, they take up almost 30 to 40% of the total business environment in Nigeria, depending on the statistics you find or the statistics you use. So I think that's the lion's share. So I think they are doing very well.
So you think they're doing really well?
Yes, they are doing well. I don't really see the business environment being friendly for both genders. The problems are not gender specific. Yes, women have some cultural issues in terms of northern Nigeria or some religious barriers that prevents them from excelling. But I think the general business environment in Nigeria is being affected by a lot of problems and a lot of loopholes, which hopefully they can be able to advocate for policy changes that government should address.
All right, let me ask Umita, who's the entrepreneur on the panel. Don't look so nervous when I'm coming to you. So we're hearing that the business environment is terrible for everyone and it's not particularly gendered. Would you agree with this?
Yes, I agree. I think it's the economy in Nigeria. This year it's just a bit slow for everyone.
And so why do you think that women are not able to break the barrier from the small, medium and micro businesses into being the owners of industry?
Well, I think because men have already monopolized the whole system and they kind of gatekeep everything. They don't let women in. They try to gatekeep so that it's hard for the women to penetrate. Because most men in the north like to stop their women from achieving their dreams because they feel like if she makes it, then who will take care of me? And if she's doing better than me, then I'm lost.
All right. Oh, well, do you believe in this? If she makes it, then what does a man become? Is this the trending narrative, so to speak, here in the north?
I don't get.
That men are the ones who are holding women back because they don't want women to grow and prosper.
Yes. In the case of northern Nigeria, women are actually not doing very well in terms of business, because of religious reasons and cultural barrier. For example, the Islamic religion is of the view that a woman should stay at home and take care of her children, while the man should provide all her need for her. So that's one of the reasons. And another reason is cultural barrier. Most of the culture does not even support women going in northern Nigeria, does not even support women going to the market. They don't see women as people that will prosper. Yes.
And what is your personal view on this? Do you think that women should be out there in the business market trying to fend for themselves, making an earning?
My own view regarding this is that women should stay at home and cater for their own children. Yes. They should stay at home, cater for their own children. Because I have a neighbor that the woman is going to the market and the husband will also not be around. So the children will come back from school. In some cases, they will just be fighting. Nobody will even cook for them. Yes.
All right.
So it's very bad.
Let me ask Fatima here, because you laughed when he said that he believes women should be at home. So you find this hilarious, and yet it's a reality.
Yes, it's actually a reality, but actually it's what is happening. Yeah, you can't... Let me say, we women, we don't have freedom, especially from the north, because one, they said when you go out there, you are not safe. They can't let their wife to go out there because it's unsafe for them. Yeah, and they also have some series of reasons for their actions. One is insecurity. Yeah, they feel insecure with their wife being exposed to other men or carrying out their activities. And they also feel down on themselves that letting their wife out there to hustle for money, people will look down on them that they are unable to cater for the wife, which is totally wrong. Because we all have our motive, like we have career to pursue. We need to be out there to pursue our career.
Okay, so let me ask Awal, are you insecure about women becoming experts in their own field?
No, I'm not. I'm not in any way doing that. But their protection is primary. We should protect them.
Okay, but let me center myself here for a second, because I'm certainly not from northern Nigeria, but I'm working. I feel very protected. What more would you want for the women from the north?
Women from the north are facing challenges, but the government is supposed to intervene in issues like this, and our traditional rulers are supposed to amend some of our cultures so that it will aid in supporting women.
Okay, yes. Let me speak to Ahmed, who's a strategist, and you work with women, you mentor them. So in some ways, you are the antithesis of what Awal here is saying. What do you feel about that? Because you're also a northern man.
Yeah, absolutely. I totally disagree, 100%. Because, first of all, when we are talking about women in business, for example, looking at what I do here personally, is that we create a platform which a lot of businesses actually showcase their brand. And we're not being gender biased, we just open it for all genders. But surprisingly, 85% of the participants are women, and they are doing amazingly well. And when you're talking about business here, you're not talking about feelings, emotions, or sentiment. You're talking about pure economics, making money. And then these women are killing it out there. We have a lot of businesses owned by women that employs a lot of people working under them. And it's very, very inspirational. But also, at the same time, we cannot neglect the fact that most of those women, actually have the support of their husbands or their brothers or their fathers, okay? So we are not ignoring that. And this is not a gender war kind of thing. But at the same time, balance is really, really important. If a woman is a career person, then if she ends up being with someone who likes to have someone who would actually stay at home and cater for kids and himself, and then it's also very, very important to actually create a balance. And then the key word here is balance, balance, balance. It's really, really important, because you can't tilt, on one side and say that women are supposed to stay at home and then do what? And then now, this is the modern times, of course. The demand in the modern times has truly, truly changed. For example, now, let's look at your mobile phone now. How much do you spend on your mobile phone? Data, subscriptions on music apps, and some of the rest of the things. So when you actually compare that, you would realize that individuals now have more demands than 30 years back. Yeah. So that necessitates the need for all genders to come out and be resourceful. That is to make ends meet for themselves.
So balance, balance, balance is what Ahmed is saying. Saad, I want to come back to you. How are you managing this? Because you are also a northern woman, perhaps encumbered by the same traditions and indeed religion. How are you navigating that?
Okay, so I think when talking about support, for me personally, I can't say I have family issues support, because my mother, may God bless her soul, was very supportive of me 100%, no matter what I wanted to do. She's the one that actually pushing me actually sometimes when I break down. So I feel like when it comes to family, my own family, are very supportive. But then outside, there's something that I feel like people want you to do good or good, but don't be better than them. So that's a major issue that I have mostly with the men, mostly with the women, most with the men. They want you to do good, but don't be better than them. So, but I feel like, when it comes to support, I think that I got 100% from my family, but then from the outside, there's support, but also don't be better than.
Okay, Ahmed, I see your hand, but I want to ask Zainab here for a second, because you're pretty successful in your business. Do you feel like you have to down yourself so that you don't become too successful for the men in your life?
Yes, of course.
Okay.
Yeah.
Tell me more.
So, like he said, men are actually insecure when women are successful. I think especially I wouldn't say the North, I think most men have that kind of perspective. So as a woman, you can't be too successful. I think a man will be threatened, especially if he's your spouse. Mostly spouses, I won't say parents or siblings, which they are mostly supportive, but your spouse feel, I think, a little bit insecure when you are that successful. So you have to be like bringing him on, trying to get his advice, I think, and that will make him secure, if you will say. Yeah. So I think a lot of women are actually dealing with that.
So is this a strategy that you're actively employing in your life?
Yes, I am. And not only me, I think a lot of women, this advice was actually given to me by my mother-in-law. Oh. She was like, don't ever show your man that you're successful.
Her own son?
Yes. You have to dim your light to shine brighter.
Okay. Umita, do you have to shine bright like a diamond, or do you dim yourself a little bit so that your spouse, your partner, your father shines brighter than you?
Well, I would say I've always been a rebel.
So honestly, I don't have to, because even if, for example, I tell my husband that I have a project, say in the South, he would, like Awal said, men would want to always protect their women. Is this place safe? Is this blah, 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 blah. And honestly, being the rebel that I am, I would want to go. He might give me his reasons why I shouldn't go, why I shouldn't take on the project, but I will take it on. So I will do what she said. I would be like, okay, I need an advice. Do you have a guy that is going to take me around? Do you know anybody that will help me around? So in a way, I don't dim my light, but I bring him on so that he thinks it's his idea to let me go.
Okay, so we're hearing strategies here, Ahmed, which are interesting. Pretending you need help so that, you know, you're the damsel in distress and the man comes in to swoop and save you. But why do women still have to do this in 2025, surely?
Okay, many things, of course. We're talking about economics, of course, and then we're talking about, you know, women are more enlightened, and then women have really, you know, thrive in when it comes to, you know, going out there to learn, going out there to really understand what, you know, the world is all about. And then when they said that once the mind is exposed to an idea or concept, it can never go back to where it was. So with women, whenever you're having some sort of like a training or seminars, I bet you would see more than 60% or 80% of the ones that are in attendance to that event mostly are women. So women have more craving now, you know, in search for knowledge, in search for, you know, the aspect that would actually propel them in terms of, you know, doing good when it comes to, you know, running their businesses. And I'm going to argue here that men, especially here in the North, a lot of the panelists have said that men are insecure. Well, I totally disagree. We are not insecure when it comes to allowing women.
Sorry. Somebody's clearing their throat here. They're saying, that's not true. Sir Ada, please just jump in a little bit.
Okay, I think it's most men are insecure when it comes to that. Maybe there are others that are not, but I believe that most men are insecure, especially in the northern part of Nigeria.
Okay, so the women are saying that you are?
Okay, no, we are not. Okay, it all depends on what you call insecurity. Insecurity is a fear of something, okay, something happening, and then something that is actually bruising your ego, what you are, your sense of self, okay? So what we are talking about when allowing women to actually go out there and then to make it, the few things is, when you allow a woman to actually become very, very successful in her career, a lot of women have actually become very successful and they have been able to manage, you know, their homes, you know, maintain their femininity and the rest. Because, you know, being out there is tough. Of course, it requires different version of you. So as a woman, you have to really be out there. You have to really be bossy. You have to really be. But when you don't turn that down when you are at home, then that becomes a problem.
Okay, let me ask Zainab here. Sorry, not Zainab, but Fatima, because we're hearing that there has to be this delicate balance, but we heard from Umita there that she's a rebel. I think you're somewhat of a rebel as well, having graduated, and now you're in a male-dominated field. So how are you doing it, despite the men not allowing you to?
Okay, according to what has been said earlier on, yes, despite their insecurity and feeling despite their insecurity, they are not actually very rude at us going out. Actually, it's not like they are not forcefully taking us in. Yeah, and again, it also depends on the kind of women that they are dealing with. Some, like what they've been saying, it's not just about how far you've gone in the business. No, they have series of reasons for being insecure. Yes, one is because of the because of the country that we find ourselves in. It's not secure on the general notice, like you can just be somewhere, anywhere for your business, and suddenly something bad can happen, anything can happen, then they feel insecure in that aspect. And then another thing is also, they feel that when you go out there, you are exposed to man, another man might take you from them. So they have series of reasons. It's not just only you being higher or you being more, I don't know how to put it.
More successful.
Yeah, more successful than them. So they have many reasons, but if you actually bring yourself down, just like Madam has said earlier on, that she's using some strategies to like succeed, as in to keep moving. If you calm down with yourself, despite your growing in business, if you are calm enough to still maintain that respect, dignity, as in keep your home, I think most of them will free you too.
Okay, so Doctor, we're hearing different strategies being employed by women just so that they can participate in the open market. But what is the business case for that? What happens when women are not allowed, as has been used, the term by Ahmed, to fully participate to their full potential? What is Nigeria losing?
Nigeria is losing a lot in terms of business. Let's talk the numbers. Like I told you, women are controlling over 40% of the business space, especially micro, small, and medium enterprises. So not allowing them to fully participate is an economic downturn for the country, because the numbers speaks for themselves. The numbers speaks for the women. I will give you some few statistics. When women participate in economic businesses, or when entrepreneurs, women and startups were given opportunities, it improves the global GDP. It has the capacity to improve global GDP by $12 trillion.
Wow.
So that is $12 trillion of untapped potential that we are losing from that aspect. In sub-Saharan Africa in particular, women make up about 12% of the GDP in sub-Saharan Africa, despite facing financing gap of about 42 billion US dollars. Imagine what closing that gap will be. I can assure you that the GDP of sub-Saharan Africa will shoot by more than 20% as a result of that. So Nigeria is losing a lot, the country is losing a lot. Therefore, making sure that women businesses thrive is important. Yes, it is a patriarchal society. Yes, it is a male-dominated society, especially in the north. But balancing family needs and entrepreneurial needs is very important, and that's the best way to go about it.
Okay. Now, I understand that Abdullahi is waiting in the wings to come and sneak in. But before he does, Zainab, you mentioned financing gaps, which Dr. Jalindo here has mentioned. How tough is it to get formal credit as a woman, particularly here in the north?
I think it's very tough. My brother is here, Ahmed, and I think he organizes a lot of events, which he gets a lot of support from the government and stuff like that. But as a woman, if I'm going there to get that kind of support, I think it will be harder. It will be much more easier for him to get that. So I think we have that gap and we need to close it.
I see you wanting to raise your hand. Tell me.
Okay, well, I will say that I kind of disagree with her, because, of course, yes, Zainab has said a lot of things that are quite important, but also when you are a woman, especially in the north, people usually, open doors when it comes to receiving women with ideas, or women trying to submit either their proposals or anything that has to do with that. People listen to that. They are more receptive when it comes to that.
Umita is shaking her head so hard it's nearly falling off.
No, I disagree, honestly.
Yeah.
Because there are so many challenges that women are facing. Like Awal said earlier, you need to protect your women. I'll pick from there, because Ahmed is saying when you go with a proposal, it's easier for women to give their proposal than men. Because most of these men that have the funds to give, they like to ask for something in return, and women would not want to do that to themselves. It's not a fair thing at all. It's not fair. It's very unfair. They support men with business ideas like, okay, let's say, for instance, you want to get a contract. Okay, give me 20% of whatever you get. But if a woman wants the contract, okay, sleep with me, and then I'll give you 100% of the contract. So it's not fair.
Sada, do you want to say something to me first before Ahmed jumps in?
Yeah, I totally agree with her, because it's very, very hard for you as a woman. If you're not into, you're very reserved or something like that, it's very hard for you to get fun. Because
So, sorry, just so that our global audience can understand. So what do they tell you when you say you go to the bank and you want to apply for a loan? What are some of the reasons you're given for being rejected?
No, actually, there won't be any reason. They won't say this is the particular reason, but maybe you won't stand out. Maybe your application didn't stand out or something like that. But if you know the inside, you will hear the actual reason why you get that rejection. Yeah, the actual reason why you get that rejection.
Okay, Ahmed, you wanted to add something?
Yes, of course, yes. We know there is that, of course, but we're talking about long tradition when it comes to addressing women. Of course, yes, we all know that men have to be gentle whenever women are around, of course. We have to, put yourself together. You have to understand that you have to respect yourself, and you have to respect what they are after, because women are our mothers, of course. So there is that feeling whenever a woman is actually approaching any type of organization with a proposal. And especially now, looking at, the world is tilting towards empowering women. And we are all passionate seeing women doing what they do. So we actually, the world actually smiled when it comes to, women trying to make something good for themselves. And I think, it's a lot of something, good that the women can actually leverage on and make something good for themselves.
All right. So men have to be soft as far as women are concerned. They need to be gentle. Abdullahi, is this true? Because I didn't notice you being especially gentle working with me. So I'm not sure this applies to you.
I'm what they call a he for she, so I suppose that answers your question. But some very interesting takes, Edith, I must say. Some borderline controversial, depending on which side of the debate you belong to. But let's speak to some of our audience members here at the back who I believe have a thing or two to say regarding the opinions that have been shared so far. I'm going to start with you, and I hope you don't mind me asking. Why do you feel this is still a controversial conversation to have, especially in northern Nigeria?
I don't understand why it's still a topic, because they've seen that the women are always going out to look for their own money. So why is it still a topic? We're always going hard for our own money, so I feel like the men should rest now.
Is this about independence?
Yes. For me, like, I'm very independent. That's how my father raised me. I'm very independent. So,
I mean, if your father doesn't have a problem with it, why do you think the society seems to have an issue with it?
it's just I think, how will I say it? Men like controlling women. That's it. I think that's it.
Do you agree or disagree with that submission?
I agree with that, because I can personally relate to all the problems they have been mentioning. These challenges, women are still facing them. I am a Muslim woman in a male-dominated field. I'm a carpenter. So you can understand the problems. Most of my clients have seen the work that I have done, but they are always trying to see how they can pitch and steal my carpenters to do the work for them, because they feel they are men. They know it better than me, until they use them for work and they find out. So these are problems that we are facing as women, because...
And how are you able to navigate that complexity?
By proving them wrong, doing my work, making them see what we can do that the carpenters, the men carpenters cannot do or achieve, yes.
Right, okay. Let's bring some of the men into the conversation. Do you feel this is fast turning into a competition between men and women, especially when it comes to business?
Not really. I don't feel like it's turning into a competition per se. I feel it's all about balance, because men and women, ideally, they are not the same. So it's all about finding the right balance, because as you said, it's more about men controlling women, but at the end of the day, they are not the same. Men feel more in control at the end of the day, but like I said, it's all about finding the balance. We need women to come into business more and men to relinquish a bit of the control. But at the end of the day, there can't be two kings here. So somebody has to...
So you think men still have to take the lead?
Globally, politically, everywhere in the world, there has to be a lead.
Right.
Okay. If you say otherwise, you are just lying to yourself, because politically, in the world politics, for example, how many presidents are women? So we are dealing with realities on ground. Instead of, for example, saying, okay, we want all women to be presidents. It's not possible. Currently, they are leaders, and then we try to bring them more, because the world has already been structured that way for years. So now we are trying to bring women more into it. That's how I feel about it.
All right. Clearly, the patriarchy is a big question that has to be answered, right? He talks about relinquishing some of that space to allow women to come in and to have their own sort of experience. What do you think is wrong with that idea?
Okay, I think everything is wrong with the idea, because already the society expects that women are supposed to be under men. And then they, on the other hand, they feel they are giving us some sort of opportunity, which I feel it's wrong. I feel we're supposed to have that equal opportunity, so that as women, we can also, grow higher. It's sad that most often it is expected that women will be under the men. So I feel everything is wrong about the whole perspective, because most women are now aware of their rights. Most women now come up for themselves. Most women are up there doing things for themselves. So I think there should be that balance to give women that equal opportunity for them to also, grow and then expand themselves.
Right. There are certain industries or sectors where, the men dominate, and then there's others where you find women predominantly dominating. Do you think that is something women can amplify to balance the scale?
I would say yes. Take, for example, I'm a hairstylist. When you look at that particular industry or that market, you feel that women are more domineering. But then in recent times, we've had men that are coming up and then they are doing very great. So I think the narrative is actually changing. So if we can just, the whole thing is just about balance, I would say. So I think if we just have that equal opportunity, then everybody will be fine.
Right. Let's talk about the economy, because clearly when you talk about poverty, the northern part of the country is dealing with a significant problem. You consider some of the states, poverty rate is as high as 77%, right? Do you think it makes sense for people to overlook those cultural barriers to say, with more women in business and taking active part in the economy, it will address that key issue around poverty?
Yeah, it will address.
Right. And just to double down on that particular point, right? How much more do women need to do to prove themselves, especially in this part of the country where conservatism is pretty much the order of the day?
Well, women need more support from, let's say, people, because some people actually think that women cannot be professional in some aspects, like maybe tailoring or something. So some people rather prefer men doing it for them than women. So it's one of our challenge.
And what about conservatism? Because we talk about culture, we talk about religion, right? Do you think it's high time? And I mean, in the 21st century, right, there's a lot of opportunities out there that can help address some of the issues that we have, especially in northern Nigeria. Do you think those cultural norms and traditions need to be looked at again to not only allow women to excel, but to also allow the society to function a bit better?
Yeah, sure. Like you see, like this young man talk about balance. So women can't satisfy the work-life balance because managing business and family responsibility will gonna be a little bit tougher.
Okay, just before we go on a break, I want to ask a question to just piggyback off of what he just said. It always feels like women have to choose between business, work, and the home life, right? Do you think that that is an unfair thing to ask of a woman in this day and age?
That is very unfair. And from what the previous panelists have said, it is even scary. Most of them are married, so they were talking about how you have to dim your light to make your spouse more comfortable. I'm not married. My parents, my father especially, he has been very supportive of my business. So imagine now getting married to a person that you have to dim your light. I don't think.
Right. Okay. Interesting takes. Let's take a quick look at this report that pretty much signposts this issue around how women are carving a niche for them in an unusual manner. Here's the story of Elizabeth Awodu. Take a look.
Tech being a female woodworker in Nigeria. Elizabeth Ifeanyi Awodu knows best.
The nature of my business is male-dominated. I've actually never worked with a woman, and that has been quite difficult. It has shaped me into a woman I'm becoming.
Elizabeth has carved a niche for herself, literally. Hers was not an easy task, but way worthwhile.
I started woodwork precisely August 2020. When I started, I actually had no knowledge of woodwork. I actually learned everything as I gained more experience in the field. I started through an unconventional way. I had a dream where I saw myself in the midst of woods. I acted up on the dream. I saw the opportunity and started the business. Here we have a life edge slab gotten from a client who brought it over to the workshop for us to help salvage it. So we're trying to see if this wood can be brought back alive.
Wood carving is an integral form of expressing culture and traditions in Nigeria and dates back to the 12th century. However, one of the major challenges artists go through is that of sourcing for materials.
I use hardwoods. I source them locally in Nigeria. All these woods are from different species of trees. This is gotten from a mango slab. So here we have a wine rack. This is a gear worn by the ancient hunters. Yeah, my reception desk is made of walnuts. So here I have a chair made up from mahogany. Yeah, it's a rocking chair. most likely used by elderly people. So I love to encourage furniture pieces for the older ones.
Women in business face challenges and can sometimes throw in the towel out of frustration. But Elizabeth has proven herself. Like the old saying goes, what a man can do, a woman can do better.
My advice for young women aspiring to go into male-dominated fields like mine would be that they should be resilient, they should be very hardworking. I remember when I started, I would have laid back, would I say, but I just kept pushing, even when I had no customers. And the first client I had paved way for me because he enabled me showcase my talent.
With her eye-catching designs, Elizabeth is not just an inspiration to women, but an inspiration for anyone who is determined to make it in Nigeria.
What an inspiring story. Elizabeth's story there symbolizes and signposts this growing demographic of Nigerian women who are breaking barriers, taking the proverbial bull by the horn. Let's go back to the panelists with Edith Kimani.
Thank you very much, Abdullahi. Now, he did mention when he was speaking to the panelists earlier that there is a sense of unfair. Lindo, when the government is working so hard to create equality, is there more that can be done to make sure that, yes, culture is respected, religion is respected, but women get a fair chance?
In terms of policy support for women entrepreneurs, access to financing, in terms of legal protection for women businesses, and in terms of general business environment that will cater for the needs of the woman.
Is this a realistic dream?
Yes, it is. It is achievable. A lot of countries have done that. We've seen the success stories recorded in Tanzania, recorded in Ghana, where women businesses were excelling, and it's purely driven by policy by the government.
Okay. Zainab, I want to get a response from you because one of the panelists from the back said that it's scary to hear married women say they have to dim their light for their husbands. I just want to get a quick response from you. What do you feel when you hear a young woman, younger than you it seems like, say that?
They shouldn't be scared. They shouldn't take it out of context. But to be honest, some men, but I'm not saying all men, but I think if you're doing well and then you're helping the family, they'll actually support you. So for the young ones coming up, please don't be scared to dim your light. Just go on with what you're best at.
All right. So Fatima, obviously we've heard the many challenges that plague women here in the North, but despite that, you've managed to become very successful in your business. So what have you been able to do which has set you apart?
Oh, well, actually I'm a shoemaker. I make shoes, I make bags, and I'm also into sewing, like fashion. I sew hijabs and gowns. Well, recently, though it's not been long that I actually started what I've been doing. Though I learned shoemaking after my ending, that was when I went for the shoemaking training then. But I've not put it in practice until after I graduated. So it's like 2 years now that I've been into it. And of course, I've been facing some challenges, especially finance. Just like he said earlier on, we need finance, like to put the business on going well. But we're actually trying. And at the same time, from my own side, despite the fact I've not gotten all that I need, I'm also training some, like my genders and even the males. So I also train them in shoemaking and bag making. So alhamdulillah, I've been.
Wow, congratulations. So on top of your work, you're also capacity building. Incredible. So Awal, we've had a lot of things being said, a lot of people not agreeing with what you think. And so my question was, all these educated women in the North, what are they supposed to do from your viewpoint?
My own view is that all the educated women in the North, there are other businesses that does not require you going outside. You can even use your phone to do your own business. You can do your business at the comfort of your own home. So they should engage themselves in such kind of business.
So that will limit them, obviously, because if you want to run an industry, if you want to be a CEO of a company, you have to be seen at some point. So does that mean they have to always play small?
So that's where we talk of balance. We now have to balance, they should balance their schedules and still balance their work. So that will help in eradicating such kind of problems.
Okay. For our global audience who might not understand what the cultural restrictions are, explain to me why it's so important to you that a woman remains behind closed doors.
As you all know, religious beliefs are very important. So my own religion is of the view that a woman should be a protector of the house, should protect the house, while the husband should go outside and provide all she needs. Yes.
Okay, Zainab, I know you were really disagreeing. Just give it to me.
So I think men like Ahmed, I'm sorry, are the ones pulling us back. And from what he said, religious aspect, there is nowhere in the religion where they said a woman should stay at home and take care of the family. We have the prophet wife, she is a businesswoman. We have the other prophet wife, Nana Aisha, she opened a university and teach a lot of women and men as well. So you don't bring religion saying that religion limits women to stay at home. Religion doesn't do that. And then the second point, what did you?
Protecting provision.
Yes. So as a woman, we can protect ourselves. And when you say we should stay at home so that the men can go and get the provision, they actually don't do that. How many percent of men are providing for the women? 100%. Just 2% I will see probably from now. So we need to fend for ourselves, for our children as well, because they don't provide 100%. So we need to change the narrative and get our own source of income to fend for ourselves.
Yeah, Omita is actually clapping. And I want to put you on the spot for a second, because I know that you come from a privileged background. But sometimes you just want to provide for yourself, right?
Yes. Okay, say the husband takes care of you, everything you need. There's food in the house, there's light, there's fuel in your car and everything. You want to get something for yourself. You might have to ask him, okay, I want so-so thing. And they'll be like, not now. If you don't have money, you have to wait till when he's ready to get that. But if you have your own money, you just go out and get your thing.
Yeah. So Ahmed, I'm very curious to know, in your training programs, what do you say to women who have similar views to Zainab and to Umita?
Keep on going. That's what we tell them, honestly, because the sky is the limit. And I so much believe that the religion doesn't put a barrier in terms of allowing women to go out and cater for themselves. It actually supports that. So it's all a matter of interpretation, how you interpret the scripture and how you can be able to see how you can apply it in your own personal life. We're not accusing anyone for being faulty or anyone for not being right, but what we're saying here is allowing women to go out is not against religion. In fact, it's something that the religion usually encourages.
Okay. You want to add something?
Yeah, I want to add something with regards to religion. Like he said, even if you're educated, you should stay in the house and just take care of the children. Islamically, it encourages women to go out and look for education. I don't know the Arabic of that, but yeah, it says you should go out as a woman, as a man. Everybody should go out and seek knowledge. And if you seek knowledge, you're supposed to do something with it. You are even encouraged to share your knowledge with other people. So if you, for instance, myself, I am studying law. I am currently in law school. So as a lawyer, I would want to help people. If to say Awa was my husband and I finished my law degree, I want to help women in abusive marriages, I should just stay behind and see them killed?
Let's ask Awa. So she's asked a very straight up question. What do they do with their education? You know, especially when they're so highly advanced in the education.
That's where the issues of balance come missing.
It's okay, say your point.
Yeah, you need to balance all your schedules. Yes.
So if, say, are you married by any chance?
No.
Okay, your future wife comes to you and says, I've secured a really big job in government. Would you restrict her from participating?
Yeah, it depends. Yes.
So if the naira is big, then it's not a problem.
Yes. As for me, I have the view that I'll provide all she needs. Yes, I'll provide for her all what she needs.
Okay.
So I don't see the reason why she should go outside and be doing business or other things.
All right. Yes. Oh, well, I respect your view because you're in the minority here, but we still want to hear it. So, Abdullahi, we're hearing a lot of things, but I do wonder, because there are women who also want to be taken care of, who want to live the life that Awal here is describing. I wonder what the people you're speaking to think about that.
Yeah, interesting. I think a lot of people were scratching their heads with regards to the choice of words. Allow and support. Some people think, you know, there's no conversation about allowing women. It's more or less like supporting women to get the job done. But we're in the solution phase here, right? So I would like to get your takes on what you think can make life easier for women in business in Nigeria. What do you think can be done?
Okay, I think women should just be allowed to do what they want to do without restriction. I understand that there are some women that they don't mind just being at home as long as they're taken care of. But then there are also some women that would want to work, especially for those people that have gone to school, you know, they want to advance their career. So I think women should just be allowed to just explore and then to advance.
What could make things easier for you?
I think the support. Everybody around you should give you support. And then who doesn't like to be taken care of, you know? But I also like to look for my own, you know, my own independence. I have a BA in marketing and international business. I have a master's in business admin, and then I'm also a marketer in my own business. So I would not want to sit down like that, and I would love the support that people around me give, especially my husband, since he's the main character in my life now.
Right. So you would love to eat your cake and have it?
Yes. Why not?
Right. What about the government? What about the society? What can they do to make your business, you know, as unusual as it may seem in the grand scheme of things? What can society, what can government do to make you feel, you know, supported?
First of all, acceptance. I feel the society especially needs to start accepting that women are also capable of doing things that men are capable of doing. I mean, if we're okay with men dominating in female-dominated fields, she's talked about men, you can see men's hairstylists now, the fashion industry, men are doing makeup, and we're okay with that. Some of the top chefs in the world are men. We are okay with that. So men should also be okay with women dominating in the male-dominated fields, like mine, carpentry. Is okay, we can do it too. In fact, we have better eyes for interior and whatnot. So I think acceptance.
Acceptance. Why is it such a difficult thing to happen, especially in northern Nigeria? Because we've been talking about this for decades now. Do you think the times are changing? Are men or is society generally accepting this new reality?
I think times are changing really, because I'm one with the support for acceptance. We need women more to come into business, to support them more. I'm of the idea that together we'll make the board better. That's my own. Right.
And if any of you has the ear of the president or the minister or the governor, what would you like them to do differently from what is currently happening?
Give women equal opportunity.
I feel like you should give them funding. Yes, a lot of people don't have funds, so funding is important.
What she said, funding.
Right. And also, just as a final point, do you think the next generation are unapologetic about, you know, taking this proverbial bull by the horn?
We are the next generation, and we are unapologetic.
Right. Okay. Let's cross over to Edith now for the thoughts of the panelists and what they have to say regarding what looks like a solution going forward.
Right. Well, if you ask Awal, he'll say that there's absolutely no problem at the moment with the way things are. But I just want to ask you, Dr. Jalindo, is there anything that can be done to flatten this line so that women who want to participate actively in business can? And how do we ensure that that financing gap is closed?
Yes, what we need to do is to provide equal opportunities for both men and women. How do we flatten the financing gap is making sure that you target specific group of vulnerable women and have financing ready for them. For instance, those at the lower cadre of the society, which are the majority of the population in Nigeria. So having financing for them, scheduling it and making sure that it works for them, they have access to it and what of use. Secondly, literacy education, very important, because majority of these small and medium enterprises, the women, they cannot participate in that because technologically they are not very literate. So having programs that will improve literacy education is also key. Most importantly is mentorship. women businesses that have thrived need to mentor other women to show them that, look, if there is, if I can do it, you can also do it. So that's the way.
I love that. And Saada is actually already doing that, participating in the fourth industrial revolution in IT, mentoring women. What other solutions do you have for us?
Okay, I think one of the solutions I have to actually, one, I would think let the women be role models, actually, be good role models. Because in a society where the men, they have these trust issues and whatnot. So I believe that whatever you're going to do as a person that starts, you should do it well, so that other men also will see and realize, okay, this is good for my wife, for my sister, and then also they can catch up from that. And then secondly, when he mentioned technology also, I believe that a lot of women should join in technology field, because there are a lot of solutions. I believe that only women that are into technology that can be able to actually, tackle that particular part, whether in social impact or businesses also. Like, for example, when it comes to, like, I think there was a problem that I realized here, women dying of eclampsia, pre-eclampsia, and also I developed a machine learning model that can be able to predict that earlier in pregnant women. So I believe that these are the issues that only women, will understand and see what are the ways that they can bring a solution to other women. So technology also is very, very, very good that they should join in. And
yeah, I like that. Fatima, you're also in an industry, like you mentioned, that's predominantly male. How do you get more women to be daring enough to step up to the plate?
Well, I actually, especially my neighbors for now, like I have many neighbors who are not into anything, like they're just housewife. I do organize.
But is there anything wrong with that?
Yes, something is very wrong with it, because you can see most of them are in need. Their husband can't even cater for their need, but yet they are just at home. It's not because they don't want to go out, but because they don't know the way forward. And most of them, it's not because their husband also restrict them from going out, but because maybe they don't just have any business idea to go for, or they don't have the funds to go for what they want to go for. I actually do encourage them. If they are interested, they can join me. Then if they are interested in the field I'm into, them, I take them in as an apprentice too.
All right, we're going to be putting your handle right there. So if you're really interested, get in touch with Fatima. All right, Ahmed, tell me, solutions.
Okay, the best solution, I think, that was given by the economist. I think he actually provided a lot of good solutions. The suggestions are really good, especially when women now are being given the opportunity where they can be able to display and showcase what they can actually do, and the world would appreciate them even more. When you're talking about especially the role models, which is very, very important, to have the specific women that have actually made it in different industries, so that others can be able to see that, okay, if women are doing it, these women can actually go this far in trying to see what they can actually do, and then I can also be able to do that. And inspiration, it's a seed that kind of creates the success, and it's really good, and it helps the community and the society at large grows. So and then again, adding to the effect of men supporting women, I so much believe that it's really, really important, in as much as we are trying to, identify clearly what men are doing in order to bring down the women in terms of ego, in terms of, whether it's insecurity and the rest. But it's also important to really understand and identify that men are the biggest support system that women can actually have.
Okay, I started this debate with Zainab, but I'd like to close with you. What do you want our viewers to be left with? What should women do to stay empowered, to become empowered?
I think mentoring. And that's why I started my podcast, Rise with Zeros, where I bring a lot of established entrepreneurs to see their stories, their challenges, so that the ones coming up will learn from them and will grow. And I think we need that so much, and I hope people will watch it and learn more from that.
Well, I dare not get any other comments after that beautiful closer. Abdullahi, where are you? Let's close this debate. What are your final thoughts?
Interesting takes, obviously, but I also think that at the heart of the problem is the fact that the scale of the problem is simply greater than the scale of the solution. But times are changing, and that is the positive note for me. I think, just to use a football analogy, you can't win a game when you have some of your best players on the bench. Whatever you think about Northern women or women generally speaking, if we unlock that potential, the economy is going to look much different, much better, and we wouldn't be dealing with some of the issues that we're dealing with today.
Greatly put. We asked a very simple question at the beginning of this debate. What's holding women back? A lot of these women said men, but there are other multi-layered issues, but they also have the solutions of how we can go around this. Thank you so much for being a part of this debate and watching us. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.